All right, what's going on, you guys? This is my review for the fight. It's been a few days, so I've been able to, check out and look at what the boxers thought, the experts and the boxers and the fans and the media. Um, listen, it was supposed to be a fun fight, you know. Uh, in the very beginning, when I first heard that they were trying to put this fight together, I thought it was a bit risky for Floyd because you don't want to throw your legacy by something crazy happening and you end up losing this fight, right? Somehow, some way. And, you know, then when they officially signed and they officially scheduled the fight, it was just more like, all right, this is kind of a joke. You know, this is Floyd Mayweather, and what they do is they build these fights well. Okay, they do. They know how to make you think their Floyd's opponent has a shot of actually beating him. I mean, he's done this with championship fighters. You know, I remember the Guerrero fight. I remember the Victor Ortiz fight. Fights like that where we sit back and laugh and think about, how much that boxer had fell off since then. But if we really think about it and we go back and remember when these fights took place, there were a lot of people that thought they had a good chance of beating Floyd Mayweather, you know? Now, obviously, I didn't bring up Canelo Alvarez because he's had a lot of success since their fight, and it was a pretty respectable loss on his part, No one really bashes him for losing to Floyd Mayweather, you know? So if you look back historically and just go back over the years and watching Floyd fight, and look at his opponents and we look at their resumes at that time. Even with Marquez fight, when he was coming back to fight Marquez and how a lot of people thought Marquez was going to be the one to exploit Floyd. You know, Shane Mosley, other fighters. I could go on and on, but the Conor McGregor thing was just supposed to be a fun fight. There are a lot of fans, and I went to a fight party, and there was a lot of fans there that really wanted him. The room was separated. When I say separated, and I mean in every way, you knew who wanted who to win. If you get what I'm saying, and the people that wanted Conor to win, you know, as I was talking to them while at the party, a couple of them were really like Conor McGregor fans. And then some of them just hated Floyd, just wanted to see him lose. And that's what sells a fight, you know. Conor has a huge, huge fan base. All right. And even for the people that don't really care for him that much, that follow MMA, might they were interested in the fight because of the fact that Conor was representing MMA at that night. And they supported it because they just wanted to see what would happen. Can Conor beat this guy? It was something different. And that's why Floyd was putting the pressure on Conor to make this fight. Before they actually signed and negotiated, Floyd was the one that was doing most of the calling out. He said, I'm not coming back unless I fight Conor McGregor. Because he saw the money was there. He knew back then. He knew, you know, and he's a genius. It is what it is. Like when it comes to making these fights happen, he's a genius. He is, and I think, for the fight, you just gotta enjoy it for what it is. Like, listen, let's all use our head. Floyd Mayweather is the best boxer in his era, okay? And one of the greatest of all time, right? It's safe to say that. All right, he's a couple years past his retirement, but he's not extremely old. He didn't go out looking like a Roy Jones or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? He went out undefeated. And he's looked pretty solid in his most recent fights. I mean, obviously he's not near his prime, but I mean, he was still on top of the game when he retired. It is what it is. And you got a guy, he's fighting a guy that's never boxed professionally. The odds and the chances of Conor winning this fight are extremely low. Extremely. Regardless of your emotions and how you personally feel about Conor and Floyd, like, the reality is Conor does not know how to box on that level. He is a good boxer. He's solid for a guy that doesn't fight professionally. I think he can beat some guys. Not champions, but I think he could beat some fighters out there in boxing, if he chooses to stay. I think he can beat some guys, you know? But for him to beat the best boxer, it's kind of far-fetched, you know? And for me to see people react the way they are, I mean, even at the party that I was at, there's people there that were trying to really debate me on why Conor lost that fight and how it was bullshit. You really thought he was going to win, and if he lost, it's because he got cheated in some form or fashion? That's crazy. I don't know how anyone can think that, you know? But that's not a person thinking with a clear mind, obviously. And there's plenty of people that went into this fight, they sold the shit out of this fight. They really had people, even boxers, all right? Legendary boxers that thought Conor was going to win this fight. And that's what kills me about the whole you don't know shit about boxing thing. Because you have legendary fighters, right? That know boxing, that really has done it. Yet, when they give, their analysis on a fight, it's terrible. It's terrible. I mean, it goes from the boxers to the commentators, it's just weird because there's some people that you feel that they would know better, you know. Listen, if people, I don't know what it is, I don't know. Maybe it's because maybe the dislike for Floyd. Maybe it's because they want to be the person that calls a fight right. I've done this as a YouTube channel that was in the very beginning. I was just doing breakdowns and prediction videos. My priority was to give you an accurate prediction, in every single fight. That was when I first joined this channel. Okay. Later, I started branching out and started speaking on a collection of things or whatever. But in the beginning, I was just a prediction dude. Okay. I think the first wrong prediction I got on this channel was the Broner Maidana fight. But anyway, then there were times where when I thought there were going to be an upset, I would want to be that guy to tell you that it was going to be upset. And you know what? I was right. I was right a lot, and I was wrong at times. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Like, maybe some of these fighters, maybe some of these experts, wanted to be that guy to say, I told you so. I don't know what it was. But they convinced a lot of fans that Conor would have a chance of winning this fight. I didn't sleep on Conor going into this fight. Listen, I'm one of the people that came in here and told you guys, like, listen, Conor's really, really good. Over there, you can separate him from a lot of people when it comes to the stand-up striking game. Even his boxing skills. What he does over there is very, very good. Okay? It's just that He's fighting the best fighter. Okay, he would most likely lose to just about everybody that Floyd faces in a boxing ring. He will probably lose to every single one of them. You know, but he's actually fighting Floyd. You know, and I said the only advantages he would have is if Floyd's reflexes have fell off that hard over the last 2 years. You know, is age really going to catch up to him? You know, obviously it didn't. All right, his conditioning was far better than Conor's. All right, and conditioning experience has a lot to do with that as well because you know Conor might have been able to fight as many rounds as Floyd, but you're not used to fighting that way. You lack the experience. You don't really know what's gonna make you really tired in a fight until you're actually in that fight. You can prepare for it. You can spar, train. You can fight X amount of rounds. Preparing leading up to the fight. But when you're fighting a particular fighter that knows how to wear you down quickly, you don't know until you're in it because no one that you're sparring against is preparing you for Floyd Mayweather. There's no way to prepare for that guy. There's no way to do it. You know, I'm saying all this is because the reason why I'm saying all this is because there's people that really believe, like they're really upset that this guy lost, and they're making all kinds of excuses, and they're not looking at the facts here. Like, listen, this guy wasn't supposed to win. Okay, he was not supposed to win. It would have been ridiculous for him to win. He even got stopped by an older Floyd who's been retired for 2 years. When Floyd, everybody else says it. Skip Bayless, that idiot on ESPN or Fox Sports, that guy is going up there saying that, Conor's going to knock him out. Pacquiao's going to knock him out. All of these fighters are going to knock him out. He's up there saying it. And he has people believing it. Based off what? You're up there saying Floyd hasn't knocked no one out since 2009 or 2011. He hasn't officially knocked someone out since Ricky Hatton. The whole Victor Ortiz thing was nonsense. All right, that's cool. But he knocked Conor out. He knocked him out and haven't fought in 2 years. Or stopped him. Didn't knock him out, but he stopped him. He hasn't stopped anyone in so long. Yet he managed to stop this guy who was much bigger than him. At least, they look at least 2 weight classes apart. At least 2. All right? I mean, come on, man. Like, now, for the fight, I enjoyed it. I thought it was entertaining. I thought after the first 2 rounds, I was like, oh, okay. We got a fight here. Conor was doing well in the beginning. He was fighting like Conor, the Conor that I thought was going to come in. I thought the inside game was going to be his biggest issue, which it was. Floyd exposed that in the 4th round. But in the first 2 rounds, Conor was doing a good job keeping Floyd at bay. We normally don't see that. Floyd is usually a guy that likes to fight on the outside. He can fight on the inside great too, but usually Floyd manages to beat up his guys on the outside, and then usually unless when he wants to put himself in position to fight on the inside, he keeps himself where he wants to be. But Floyd, I mean, for Conor, for a guy that was taller and from the looks of it, that looked to be lengthier, he was doing a pretty good job keeping Floyd, at the end of his jab, and he was shooting that straight left hand. He landed that uppercut. These are all things that I've seen Conor do in his MMA fights. All right. He was doing pretty good. For a guy that never boxed, he did pretty good. But you gotta listen to when I say that. For a guy that doesn't box, he did very, very well. All right. He did well. Okay. You gotta understand too that Floyd is used to. He's trying to figure out the first 2 rounds. He's fighting an awkward guy. He's fighting a bigger guy. He's fighting a guy that has a reputation of having punching power. So he has to fight cautious. This is why he's undefeated, because he fights cautious. We know that already. Okay? So even though Conor won the first 2, maybe 3 rounds, you got to understand that Floyd is figuring out what he's going to do to beat this guy, how he's going to beat this guy. All right? He wants to feel his punching power. He wants to see what weapons this guy has. What is he going to do? How is he going to try to counter me? Okay? He's also wearing him down. Okay? He's also wearing him down. In the 3rd round, Floyd became much more aggressive. Okay? That was a round that could have gone either way. The 4th round is when Floyd clearly won. I think Floyd started going to his body. Floyd started walking him down in the 4th round, like hard, heavy, and to believe it or not, like, when's the last time we seen Floyd really walk someone down like that? It's been a really long time, even the guys, even like when he knocked out Hatton at that time, he didn't just walk him down. Like, he set traps for him, and but actually walking like an opponent down like that, well, it's been a really long time since we've seen that, and Conor didn't know what to do because Conor didn't have any inside game. In the 4th round, we seen it. Conor was trying to do things that we don't typically see boxers do when they're trying to control their opponent on the inside. Conor looked very inexperienced at that point. Right? His outside game is pretty solid for what it is. It's pretty solid, but he doesn't have. We see that in his MMA fights. He's good at that, but it's very limited because over there it's a big deal. Over here in boxing, it's not. You have to have more weapons than that, And Conor didn't know how to adjust. All he did was try to create space from Floyd. It was nice tricks he was doing when he was switching his stances and leading with shots. It was pretty cool. But, when you're fighting a guy like that, when Floyd is prepared for all of these kinds of attacks, there's nothing much you can really do, especially if you're not adjusting yourself. Conor is not on a level to make those kind of adjustments. He's not that experienced as a boxer to do that. So listen, it was really simple, and it really wasn't supposed to be something that people went that deep into. It's like people are going too deep into it. Floyd figured them out. Floyd, like I said, his chin is very, very, very underrated. Okay, Conor, who is a puncher over there in the UFC, you gotta understand he's using very small gloves over there. Okay, and he boxes better than those guys over there. He does. All right, he does. That's the reality. He does. But Floyd, he's been hit by punchers, boxing punchers. Okay. Conor looked very weak in there. He didn't look strong. He was big, but he didn't look strong. He didn't look powerful. Okay. And Floyd didn't respect his power. Because if Floyd respected his power, he would have fought a cautious fight. He got hit a lot because he had no respect for Conor. All right? First of all, those numbers, as far as the punch stats that they keep throwing up and comparing to Canelo and other fighters, you gotta understand, most of those were light jabs. All right? Where Conor was throwing it to set Floyd up, to try to trap Floyd. It wasn't punches that Floyd was really trying to avoid. Okay, Floyd did not have any respect with Conor's power. All right, and he walked him down. All right, and as far as him carrying a fight, I don't think he was carrying him in the beginning. Okay, I think in the beginning, Floyd was fighting for real. And when I say the beginning, I mean as early as the first round. Floyd is fighting for real, but Floyd is trying to figure him out. He needed a couple rounds to do that. Come on, we watch boxing all the time. We know plenty of fighters do this, not just him. Okay, Terrence Crawford do it all the time. All these defensive guys, they all do it. Ward does it. They all do it. Lomachenko does it. You know, like whoever it is you like, they want to figure you out. A lot of guys do it, okay? And that's what Floyd was doing, you know. Then when he started getting his openings in the fourth, fifth round, he's like, all right, you know, at this point, Floyd already knows what he needs to do. He knows Conor at this point. You know, at this point, he's having his way with Conor. Now there was a round in there that was like, I don't know if it was a 6 or 7. It was a round in there where Floyd already was on his attack, where he let his foot off the gas for one round. It was one round later that even whatever the commentator name is on Showtime, he gave a round to Conor. There, he gave one to Conor, and I thought maybe that same round I might have gave it to Conor too. That was a round where I said, "All right, Floyd, you already know what you're doing and it's working. Are you taking a round off to relax, or are you not trying to stop Conor so early? What are you doing?" That I will never know. None of us will never know. Okay, I don't know what, but there was a round in there where Floyd had already won about 2 or 3 rounds in a row, and he let his foot off the gas a little bit, and Conor probably won that round. Okay, or at least it was debatable. All right. Um, I don't know. You take it for whatever it is, but Floyd beat him down. You know, beat him down. Didn't have any respect for him, and I still enjoyed it. I enjoyed it not because Floyd won, but I enjoyed the fight. It was a fun fight, man. That's all it was supposed to be. You know, it was more entertaining. Some in the back and forth because of the fact that listen, Floyd got hit a lot. You know, he did, but it wasn't nothing hard. Obviously, like, did you see his face? He looked like he didn't even fight. He didn't have anything on his face. You know, Floyd looked very relaxed. It is what it is. It was fun. Conor did a good job for the fact that he never had a professional fight. He did a pretty good job. There's a lot of guys in there that probably would have got stopped a lot earlier, you know, and maybe he would have stopped a lot earlier too. You know, if Floyd didn't take 2 years off or wasn't 40 years old, you know what I'm saying? Um, you know, listen, just enjoy the fight. The fight was pretty cool. I watched it again. Um, you know, it's like all over YouTube. So, you know, I watched it again the next day. It was pretty cool. I had a good time. You know, it was, you know, everybody was at the fight party screaming, jumping up. You know, it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. I had a good time. And that's all it was supposed to be. You know, Floyd, in my book, is retired. He didn't fight Keith Thurman. He didn't fight Errol Spence. You know, he didn't fight any of these top welterweights. For me, his fight was just an exhibition fight, you know, and that's it. That's it, you know. Um, as far as the refereeing, um, Bird did okay. You know, I like Bird, but um, listen, we he could have definitely made some more harsher warnings or took points with the whole rabbit punching and Conor. You know, whenever they were tying up, Conor would be on top and then start hammering down the back of his head. You know, that's him being an MMA fighter. You know, a lot of MMA fighters do hammer fits when they're over your head. That's just he's conditioned into doing that. You know, so even when he was trying to stop, he kept doing it. You know, now you could say one thing: should have the ref done better in controlling that, or should he have continued to let them fight? You know, at points where I wasn't really sure, he was like inconsistent. I'm like, listen, there were times where he would get in the middle. Sometimes I'm like, yo, dude, let him fight it out a little bit. You know, um, I that was the one thing I was annoyed with. I wanted them like when guys are tying up, I want them to fight out of it sometimes. We didn't get enough to Berg jumped in right away. But a lot of times he jumped in, it was because the fact that Conor was doing the hammer fist thing. All right. So I don't know which way you could look at it, you know. I mean, it bothered me a little bit. I mean, if I have any complaints on this fight, it was just when Berg would get into the middle of them trying like to tie it out. Conor just didn't know how to fight, you know, while tied up. He just doesn't know how to do it, you know? And honestly, if he fought fighters like a Sean Porter or Errol Spence, he would have been stopped much sooner than that, within probably maybe 4 rounds, you know, within 5 at tops. You know what I'm saying? Tops. These guys got much better inside game. They would have known what to do in those situations. Um, even like a Adrian Broner. Adrian Broner is very good. Fighting on the inside. Clinching and everything like that. He knows how to fight out of it very, very good. They would have went better. They would have did it better than Floyd did that night. But a lot of it has to do with Floyd and his age, and it is what it is. Um, and then you never know. If Floyd, I don't know how much of I didn't know how much effort Floyd really put into that. But for a guy that's 40 years old and see him walk a guy down like that, still, without really seeming to get tired, because there was like 2-3 rounds, like the last 3 rounds he was doing it. Conor was extremely exhausted the last 3 rounds, and for Floyd, the older guy, the guy that's 11 years older, to walk him down, a young guy like that, and beat him down that way, it was very, I want to say impressive, but for his age, it was pretty. I guess it was pretty impressive. All right, but Floyd was supposed to win, and that's the end of it. As far as what's next, I don't know. I mean, Floyd, hopefully he just stays retired. I hope he just takes care of himself, makes some great investments. I mean, me personally, when it comes to Floyd, I love him as a fighter. He's one of my personal favorite fighters. Definitely one of my top 5 favorite fighters of all time. Um, what he chooses to do outside of boxing is not my business. What he believes in, his political views, all that stuff. I don't really judge people based on that stuff, right? The way you choose to live your life, use your money. I hope he makes some great investments. All right, I personally believe that he should have been a billionaire by now. With the kind of money he's made. I know he had some setbacks earlier in his career when he started really making millions, but he should be a millionaire by now. He should be worth that. Hopefully, he does the right thing for himself, make some great investments, flip that, become a billionaire, and go on from there. That would be pretty cool to see. It's not me being a black man. It would be cool to see someone like him become a billionaire. It's not many of them. Okay, so that would be pretty cool. As far as Conor, I really don't know where to go with the whole should he box or should he go back to MMA thing. I think he should go wherever the money's at. He's already made his name. He should decide very carefully on what he wants to do next. Because we don't want him to just keep losing. I'm sure his handlers, his management, whoever is on top of his career, they should make sure he makes the right move. You don't want to just go from this loss, even though it was just a boxing loss. You don't want to go to another loss. So whatever it is he decided to do, obviously he's a much better MMA fighter. I don't know what he should do. But if he's gonna continue boxing, you gotta understand that the people in those weight classes, whether it's you fighting a guy for 147, 154, 160, these guys will eat you alive, man. They'll destroy him, and yeah, there's money in boxing. There's a lot of money in boxing, but just like with UFC, you got to pick the right fights, And being that he's not really a boxer, you I'm not gonna hold Conor to the same standards as I do as the champions that are at 147, 154, 160. I'm not expecting him to fight those guys. If he wants to take the chance and try to beat Paulie Malignaggi, I mean, I guess there's some money in that. Is there more money in that than fighting the defending his titles, his 2 titles over there at UFC? I don't know. They have to figure all this out. He should go to where the money is at, but the money has to make sense as well, because he is a lot of value in his name right now. He's one of those guys that will turn into a cash cow, and he's gonna have to pick his fights carefully. That's the reality of it, You already lost in UFC. People respect you over there as fighting good guys. If you're gonna go back there, defend your title, but I don't know if he's gonna make a lot of money over there. I don't know. And if he does, and if they decide to up the amount they paid for him. All right, because they're expecting better pay-per-view numbers. All right, if they are, that's gonna leave the door open for a lot of other UFC fighters to want more money. I don't know. But as far as boxing, if you're gonna make a little bit more, if it's just a little bit more than UFC, then I don't think it's really worth it. You know why? Because you're not that good at boxing. The last thing we need you to do is lose to a guy like Paulie Malignaggi. No disrespect to Paulie, but if Conor were to lose to Paulie, it would be pretty bad. That's why I don't think like Floyd's name. Yeah, it's great losing to Floyd, but losing, even or to a Canelo, but losing to Paulie Malignaggi, I don't think that's a good idea. I really don't think so. I don't think there's that much money into it, and I don't think that the risk in that is worth it. Like you're not really that good of a boxer. We've seen that now, and from what I see, Paulie's probably going to be able to take your punching power too. You know, he's lasted against guys that really hit hard. I believe there's a lot of fighters that he went in there and fought that didn't stop him. That do have power. All right, so I don't know, man. I don't know, but I enjoyed the fight. I had a good time, and that's it, man. That's all. That's all I look into it. Like it's not really that serious to me. All right, so I'm gonna end it on that note. Um, I'm finally decided which way I'm gonna go with the Triple G and Canelo fight. So expect that breakdown pretty soon, and I'll see you guys on the next one. All right, peace.